Now, of course, you know I review my share of mobile workstations here on the channel, especially 2023. I think it's been a really good year for the category. You don't see many reviews of the mobile workstations. I certainly focus on them here on the channel. So for those interested, you know where they'll find that information. It's right here. So I took delivery recently of the Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 6. Now keep in mind, there is no longer the ThinkPad Extreme. That is gone. They've pretty much folded everything into the P1 line. So it's pretty much exactly what you would have gotten, I would think, on the X1 Extreme that would have been available this year. You now just get the P1. And this Gen 6 offers a lot here. Nice display options. You got a high refresh rate option in the IPS QHD Plus model. I have that high-end UHD Plus model, of course, in the OLED offering here. So we've got a lot here to talk about. Core i7-13800H. You're looking at the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 discrete GPU. And I gotta tell you, it's a nice combination. We're gonna talk about performance, we're gonna talk about battery life, the display, everything we normally talk about, especially the thermals. I have the one with the vapor chamber cooling, it's the high-end model. So we've got a lot to discuss here. Sit back, relax, and enjoy my review of the Lenovo P1 Gen 6 here for 2023. Coming up.
Now, before we get to the unit itself, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Lenovo. I'm not being sponsored by Lenovo. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Lenovo is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit is on loan from Lenovo, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Now, pricing starts at $1,639 over at Lenovo's website. For those interested, I will leave a link in the description below for more information and where you can buy one. Now, pricing as configured here with this review unit comes in at around $3,000 or less. I've seen it go on sale. The prices seem to fluctuate over at Lenovo's website. So, of course, always check the link in the description below for the latest pricing, as they do run a lot of sales. Now, with that out of the way, let's find out what you get inside the box. All right, so pretty eco-friendly packaging, so we'll see how that's all going to go. We have a power brick here. We're going to get a look at that in a moment. Okay, so we have a 230 watt power adapter. You can see it here. Now, this, of course, uses Lenovo's proprietary connection, although you can charge with the Thunderbolt 4 ports that are full function, but this will give you 230 watts of juice, especially with the CPU, GPU we have here. That is what you're going to want to use. So let's put that to the side. We're going to plug this in. You get your power cord as well. And then some documentation here, okay? So typical stuff here, ThinkPad P1 Gen 6 here, and then some warranty information, you know the drill. And then, of course, you get the unit itself, and this is what we've been waiting for here. This is the unit itself, and you got that carbon fiber weave here, which I absolutely love. Ooh, this looks gorgeous. You can see it here, and then, of course, you can see it here. Now, this will collect fingerprints, of course, so just keep that in mind. Let's see, a little bit of flex. No, nothing, actually, with this carbon fiber magnesium alloy here. And let's see if we can open it with one finger. We can. And there she is. And she is a beauty, of course. We've seen this before with the X1 Extreme line. Now, one of the hallmarks of a ThinkPad is going to be the build quality, the durability, and this has a military spec certification, having passed more than 200 stringent tests that Lenovo puts it under, ensuring that reliability. And I can tell you, over the years, the ThinkPads have held up well when it comes to abuse. You know, I throw these laptops around pretty rigorously, so they've held up pretty well. So good job in terms of that build quality. So just the unit alone, 1.858 kilograms, which is 4 pounds, 1.5 ounces. So for the fact that you're getting that H series processor, the 4080 GPU, that's a pretty light load here. And then with this power brick, 230 watt, it goes up to 2.547 kilograms, which is 5 pounds, 9.8 ounces. Okay, let's check out the port selection. On the left side, you get your power port in. You get two USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 ports that are full function. You get an HDMI 2.1 port. Now, that supports resolutions up to 8K 60 hertz, so that's always good to see. You get a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. And moving over to the right side, you get a full-size SD card reader, which is always great to see, especially on a 16-inch workstation or laptop. But one thing to note, the cards do stick out about a quarter of the way. They do not sit flush with the unit. Kind of wish it did, but that's okay. Well, you still like to have a full-size SD card reader, especially if you're doing content creation. It's great to have that. Good to see that here. You get two USB-A ports, which is always great to see, good legacy ports. And then you get your Kensington lock port to round out the ports on this unit. I would say all in all, a very good port selection here. Now, as far as the internals and user upgradability, I did open this up in the live unboxing. For those that didn't see it, a link for the replay will be in the description below. Long story short, all you need to do is loosen the captive Phillips head screws so you don't have to worry about losing them. Pry off the bottom plate with a guitar pick or pry tool, and that's it. Super easy. Now, once inside, you'll notice the 90 watt-hour battery. You also notice that we have the high-end unit, which has the high-end GPU, the RTX 4080. That means you get the vapor chamber cooling, but you don't get that extra SSD slot because the vapor chamber cooling does take up more space. If you go with the lower end units, you will get an extra M.2 SSD slot. And now, speaking of the SSD here in my review unit, that 1 terabyte SSD gets some excellent reads and writes we like to see, certainly fast enough for what you need this workstation to do. Now, when it comes to the RAM, there are 2 SODIMM slots, as you see here. So that means you as the user can upgrade it yourself. We'd love to see that here. And interestingly enough, my review unit has only 1 stick of 32 gigabytes of DDR5 5600 megahertz RAM. What does that mean? Well, it means it's running in single channel mode. I would have much preferred to have gotten a unit that has 16 and 16, filling up both slots to give you dual channel performance, which will be better. So you're not getting quite the potential here that this could have shown in terms of the performance. We'll get into the numbers in a little bit, and it's reflected there. So expect better performance when this is running in dual channel mode when it comes to the RAM. Now, interestingly enough, the website does say you can go up to 96 gigabytes of DDR5 5600 megahertz RAM. Just wanted to point that out. But that is the situation with the RAM. Again, if you're going to buy this, when you're checking out, just configure it with 2 sticks in there. So you want to get that dual channel performance. Single channel won't give you quite as good performance as I mentioned. So just wanted to point that out. And when it comes to the wireless, you're looking at a Wi-Fi 6E Bluetooth combo card that is soldered into the motherboard, not upgradable by the user, but the good news is the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth are both working flawlessly. I've had no issues with either one. Now, interestingly enough, there is an option for a 4G modem in here for the always-on connection. I didn't see an option for 5G. Now, depending on the model you're going with, and again, I think with the high-end unit, because of the vapor chamber cooling, you're limited in terms of space. You don't get that extra SSD, and I don't think you get that 4G LTE modem option either. So just when you're checking out, consider that. If you need that always-on connection, you may have to change the configuration when checking out. I wanted to point that out. But I like having the mobile broadband. It is curious that there is no 5G, but even the 4G LTE is certainly a nice win for the mobile road warrior who needs that always-on secure connection. So when it comes to the display, you actually have 3 options here, and we have the high-end option here. This is the one with the OLED display with a UHD plus resolution. That's 3840 by 2400. And with an OLED display, you get really deep black, super vibrant colors, the very high contrast, everything you'd expect from an OLED display is here. So if you're looking to do creative work in Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing, color grading, this is an excellent choice because you have that excellent coverage of the color gamut. It's very color accurate. You get the deep blacks, the super vibrant colors, everything you'd want in the OLED display is here. Now, one thing to note, they claim 400 nits of brightness. I got 388 in my measurement, so I would like to see it a little bit brighter. I guess if you want to nitpick, that's one thing to look at. But overall, indoor use, no issues. And it's not a glossy display, so you're not going to get a lot of glare and reflection, so that is definitely welcome here. And the overall great experience with the low blue light filter. I didn't get any eye strain here. Watching HDR content with this display has been excellent. Watching Netflix, Amazon, YouTube has been great. So the overall experience with this OLED display has been very good. And I love the fact that this is a touch screen, and the touch layer here is done very well, very responsive when it comes to pinch to zoom and scrolling with your fingers. So this is that 5 megapixel IR camera here on the ThinkPad P1 Gen 6 mobile workstation here for 2023. This is, of course, 1440p video. This is the top resolution that you can go with. Of course, you can bump it down. And this also has a shutter switch, so if you want more security and privacy, so that is good. I always like having that. Now, there's also a fingerprint scanner. The power button doubles as that fingerprint scanner. Now, as far as the AI features or studio effects, they are present here. You get your automatic framing. Of course, that always keeps you in frame. You have the eye contact, of course, and then you have the background blur effect. That, of course, you can see it here even better. That, of course, allows you to blur the background. If you have a messy background, you don't want to see people to see what's going on there. That is always good for your hybrid work needs, your work from home needs. That is pretty good so far. What do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know in the comments section below.
Okay, let's talk performance, and this is running the Intel Core i7-13800H. That's a 45-watt CPU with 14 cores. That's 8 efficient cores and 6 performance cores with a total of 20 threads. Now, as far as what it's paired with in terms of a discrete GPU, you're looking at here the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 discrete GPU, and as you can see from the NVIDIA control panel, 105 watts of total graphics power, although it really runs more closer to 80 watts, so just keep that in mind. Now, when I ran the Cinebench R23, both the single multi-core performance could have been better, and I think it's attributable to the fact that this has single channel RAM as far as this review unit is concerned, but if you configure this with dual channel RAM, 2 sticks instead of the 1, you're going to get better performance, and that's been proven in the past. So I'm not quite sure why Lenovo sent over one with single channel RAM, but keep in mind there is potential here for more power. Now, I also ran the newer Cinebench 2024, and as you can see, we're building up the database here, and as you can see, 15,413 as far as a GPU score. Again, Cinebench 2024 also now includes GPU as well as the CPU performance, and when I did the single-core score, it did 119, so you can see it comes in shy of the MacBook Pro 16 with the M3 Max, the HP ZBook Fury 16, the G10 that I looked at recently, so not quite as good single-core performance, and as you can see, the multi-core performance here, 987 versus the better performance you get on the other two. And then again, that's attributable to the fact that this is running single channel RAM. That could be remedied if you go with dual channel. So just keep that in mind. Now, as far as real-world performance, very good nonetheless, and what I wanted to see is video editing, since this is geared towards creators and professionals and so forth. This could be a very good laptop, and it took 1 minute 34 seconds to render an H.264 4K video. It's a 3-minute video that I run in terms of this test, and as you can see, compared to the others in this category, it did very well despite only having the single-channel RAM. So the overall performance when it comes to 4K video editing was very good. And when I changed the codec to H.265, it took 1 minute 31 seconds to render that same video. So the overall takeaway is video editing on this mobile workstation is very good. Now, when it comes to gaming on your downtime, as you can see, very playable frame rates in terms of some of the more popular titles. Just depends on the title, of course. Cyberpunk 2077, very playable frame rates. Again, just play with the settings, but very capable CPU, GPU performance here. No doubt about it, as you can see from these numbers. And when I ran the TimeSpy stress test to see if this will thermal throttle under heavy load, good news here, it got a passing score of 98.4%, detecting very little, if any, thermal throttling under load. We like to see that. Now, for the most part, the overall surface temperatures were good under load, and where you place your fingers never getting overly hot. There is a couple of hot spots above the keyboard below the display where the heat dissipates, where the vents are, so makes sense there. And then, of course, on the underside, it got a little bit warm, as you can see here, so that's something to be aware of. Not totally perfect here, but for the most part, relatively okay surface temperatures under heavy load. Now, when it comes to the fan noise, you definitely will notice it under load, reaching as high as 56 decibels, but in the balance mode, when you're doing everyday tasks, it wasn't much of an issue, so just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to battery life, the ThinkPad P1 Gen 6 is actually pretty good in terms of the battery life, considering this does have a UHD Plus OLED display, which tends to draw more power. It did 7 hours and 35 minutes on the PC Mark 10 Modern Office battery test. The PC Mark 10 video playback test got 8 hours and 17 minutes, and on the gaming test, 1 hour and 22 minutes. I would say overall decent battery life here, especially with that high-end, high-res display here. Now, keep in mind, when I run these tests, it's run in balance mode with 40% screen brightness. Now, the hinges are on really well here, nice and tight. I saw very little, if any, screen wobble. That's really good. And the screen goes back 180 degrees, as you see here. Now, as far as the typing experience so far with this keyboard, of course, this is a ThinkPad keyboard known for its legendary performance here when you're typing out long documents, emails, and the like. Very good key travel, I would say about 1.5 millimeters, good tactility, good feedback, overall an excellent typing experience. And you also get a nice multi-stage backlight to help you work in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. That worked really well. And you have two pointing devices. You have the trackpad, which I thought was very good for scrolling, doing all the gestures. It's a precision touchpad, so it's not surprising. And of course, you have the track point. That is also very responsive and an inherent part of the ThinkPad DNA. So for those that like the track point, it's of course there. Now, when it comes to the audio, you're looking at upward firing speakers. It has Dolby Atmos. That helps with the spatial audio. And I thought the overall sound and volume was very good. The mids were decent. There was some bass. The overall filling up the room was rather nice on this mobile workstation. Now, of course, you be the judge. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. But first, let's give it a listen. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 6 here for 2023 as we round out the year? And of course, no X1 Extreme, of course, this is it. So I'm really liking this outing here. Excellent build quality, good port selection, good GPU, CPU performance, especially when you make sure it is running in dual channel mode. Gorgeous 16-inch OLED UHD plus touch display, but there is the optional IPS 165 hertz high refresh rate display. Good battery life. Good choice of pro and gaming GPUs, so you have some choices there. Excellent keyboard. Overall, very good. Now, the negatives here, review device has single channel RAM. It has vapor chamber cooling. That is only for the high-end models. And it's not wireless WAN ready, so there are no antenna leads for those wondering if you wanted to add the modem yourself. So just keep that in mind. But the overall takeaway here is that the P1 Gen 6 is an excellent mobile workstation for not only professionals, but also for consumers alike. Again, we don't have the X1 Extreme. This takes its place, and it's a good replacement nonetheless.
So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and that platform formerly known as Twitter. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.